How to influence a loved one to seek treatment for addiction. Addiction is a disease that affects not only the person with the addiction but also their loved ones. Substance abuse can be devastating for families, and it can be difficult to know how to best help a loved one who is struggling with addiction. If you are worried about your loved ones and would like to see them get help for their addiction, there are some things you can do to try to influence them. In order to influence your loved one to seek treatment for their addiction, you first need to understand the nature of addiction and why people struggle with it. You also need to be aware of the resources available for treatment, and you need to have a plan for how you will talk to your loved one about getting help. The most important thing you can do is to express your love and concern for your loved one. Let them know that you care about them and want to see them get better. Be prepared to listen to them, and let them know that you are there for them. What is addiction and why should your loved one seek treatment for it? Addiction is a chronic, relapsing brain disease that is characterized by compulsive drug seeking and use, despite harmful consequences. People with addiction have an intense focus on using a certain substance, such as alcohol or drugs, to the point where it takes over their lives. There are many reasons why your loved one should seek treatment for their addiction. First and foremost, addiction is a serious disease that can have devastating consequences if left untreated. Additionally, treatment can help your loved one to develop healthier coping mechanisms, improve their overall health and well-being, and to rebuild relationships with family members and friends. If you are concerned about your loved one, it is important to encourage them to seek treatment. The signs and symptoms of addiction. The signs and symptoms of addiction can vary depending on the person. However, there are some common signs and symptoms that most people with addiction will experience. These include changes in mood or behavior. People with addiction may start to act differently than they normally do. They may become more withdrawn, irritable, or agitated. Changes in appearance. People with addiction may start to look different than they normally do. They may lose weight, have trouble sleeping, or look unkempt. Changes in relationships. People with addiction may start to distance themselves from friends and family. They may stop participating in activities that they once enjoyed. Changes in activities. People with addiction may start to spend more time using drugs or alcohol, and less time participating in activities that they once enjoyed. Trouble at work or school. People with addiction may have trouble keeping up with their work or school responsibilities. They may miss deadlines, perform poorly, or get into legal trouble. If you are noticing any of these changes in your loved ones, it is important to talk to them about getting help. Addiction is a serious disease, and it is important to get help as soon as possible. There are many resources available for treatment, and you can help your loved ones to find the help they need. What can you do to help them get treatment? If your loved one is struggling with addiction, it can be difficult to know what to do. You may feel helpless, but there are actually many things you can do to help your loved one get treatment. Here are a few ideas. Educate yourself about addiction and the recovery process. The more you know, the better equipped you'll be to help your loved one. Talk to your loved ones about their addiction and urge them to seek treatment. Be supportive and non-judgmental, and let them know that you're there for them no matter what. Contact a rehab center or addiction specialist and discuss options for treatment. There are many different types of treatment available, so it's important to find one that will be a good fit for your loved one. Help your loved one make necessary arrangements for treatment, such as taking time off from work or making childcare arrangements. If your loved one is reluctant to seek treatment, you may need to stage an intervention. This is a difficult but sometimes necessary step, and it's best to seek professional help when doing so. There are many things you can do to help a loved one struggling with addiction, and the most important thing is to stay supportive and positive. With time and patience, your loved ones will hopefully get the treatment they need and start on the road to recovery. How to approach a loved one about seeking treatment. When it comes to seeking treatment for a loved one, it can be a difficult conversation to have. However, it is important to broach the topic in a respectful and understanding way. First, try to understand why your loved one may be hesitant to seek treatment. There could be a number of reasons, such as fear of being judged or feeling like they are weak. It is important to be supportive and understanding during this time. Next, express your concerns in a non-judgmental way. Let your loved ones know that you are worried about them and that you want them to get the help they need. Be prepared for an honest conversation about their struggles and why they may be hesitant to seek treatment. The best way to approach a loved one about seeking treatment will vary depending on the individual and the situation. In general, it is important to be honest, open, and respectful when talking to your loved one about addiction and treatment. Avoid judgment or criticism, and try to have a conversation rather than a lecture. It is also important to be prepared for resistance, as your loved one may be reluctant to seek help. The importance of seeking professional help when trying to influence your loved one. If you are trying to get your loved one to change their behavior, it is important to seek professional help. A professional can help guide you through the process and give you the best chance of success. They will also be able to provide support for both you and your loved one. Seeking professional help is especially important if the situation is difficult or dangerous. If your loved one is suicidal, for example, professional help is essential to ensure their safety and well-being. If you are unsure whether or not professional help is needed, it is always best to consult with a professional. They can help assess the situation and provide guidance on the best course of action. Contacting a professional is the best way to ensure that you and your loved one get the help you need. How to support your loved one during and after treatment. Once your loved one has decided to seek treatment for their addiction, there are a few things you can do to support them. Encourage them to stick with their treatment plan. This may include attending therapy sessions, attending online support groups, and taking medication. Help them avoid triggers that could cause a relapse. This may include avoiding places where they used to use drugs or alcohol, staying away from people with who they used to party, and avoiding stressful situations. Be there for them when they need you. This may mean listening to them when they want to talk, being understanding when they are having a tough day, and celebrating their successes with them. Make sure they are taking care of themselves. This may include eating healthy and exercising, getting enough sleep, and avoiding drugs and alcohol abuse. Recovery from addiction is a long process. With the right support, your loved one can overcome their addiction and live a happy and healthy life. Thank you for being there for them during this difficult time. What to do if your loved one refuses to seek treatment for addiction. If your loved one refuses to seek treatment for addiction, there are still things you can do to help them. You can talk to them about the dangers of drug abuse and how it is affecting their life and the lives of those around them. Encourage them to seek help from a professional. There are many treatments available that can help people with addiction. Offer to go to counseling or therapy with them. This can be a great way to support them and ensure that they stay on track. Stay positive and supportive, even if your loved one doesn't seem to be responding to your efforts. Try not to give up on them. If all else fails, you may have to consider distancing yourself from your loved ones until they are ready to seek a treatment program. This can be difficult, but it is sometimes necessary. It can be difficult to watch someone you love suffer from drug addiction. However, it is important to remember that addiction treatment is available and that there is hope for recovery. With the right support, your loved one can overcome their addiction and live a happy and healthy life. The importance of patience, understanding, and unconditional love in recovery. The importance of patience, understanding, and unconditional love in recovery can't be overstated. Alcohol and drug addiction is a complex disease to overcome, and it takes time and effort to get into and stay in recovery. Loved ones need to be patient and understanding as their loved ones go through the ups and downs of addiction and recovery. And most importantly, it's important to show unconditional love. No matter what, your loved one needs to know that you love them and that you're there for them. Addiction is a difficult journey, but it's possible to overcome it with the proper support. So if you have a loved one struggling with addiction, remember to be patient, understanding, and unconditional in your love for them. They need you now more than ever.